Hello again and welcome to me, Audrina Lane, and my first novel, Where Did Your Heart Go? And this is chapter 21. I passed the bedroom and caught muffled giggles, so I knew she was chatting to Julia, and then once I was alone in my room I pulled out the diary that I'd removed from hers that morning. I knew she wouldn't miss it tonight, and for some reason I needed it, to relive and remember how good first love can feel and how badly it can all fall apart. I flicked forward to where I had last finished reading. Before I settled down, I turned on my iPod and selected my mix of favourite songs from the 80s to keep me company. Tuesday the 5th of July, 1988. Waking up together for the last time in the hotel room, I didn't really want to leave, as I'd spent the most magical time with James. But it wasn't too bad, as I was going back to his parents' house and there was going to be a party on the Saturday night. So I was going to meet loads of his family, which was a bit scary. We made love for a final time in the sumptuous four-poster bed, and then after a shower and breakfast we packed our bags and headed for the car. On the drive back to James's we talked. I told James I had an interview the following week for a hospital job at the local hospital, working on their radio station. James had also been for an initial interview with the fire service and was just waiting to hear if he got to the medical and physical test stage yet. It felt strange discussing our futures, when all I really hoped was that we had a long-term future together. I felt that now we had made love, James would no longer feel frustrated when we were not together. The words of felicity still plagued me, but some of those ghosts had been dispelled. As we pulled up in the driveway, I noticed the birthday balloons and banners that welcomed James home. Once inside, he opened more cards and presents from family and friends, including one from Chris saying that he was hoping to come up for the party, and would it be okay for him to bring Sarah too. I couldn't wait to see her again, and tell her all that had happened since I said goodbye to her at the school dance. We had Chinese takeaway for tea and all sat round talking about the party. Later, when we were in bed together, we made love quietly, but because I was afraid to make a sound, I couldn't relax as much as I had at the hotel, and my orgasm eluded me. It didn't matter, as I was just happy to be with him. He was my world, and everything revolved around him. That had been my problem all those years ago. I had fallen so hard and deep for James that I hadn't thought to protect my heart. I'd never been in love before. I never realised that it wouldn't last. I'd not been so reckless with my husband Mark. There had always been that small barrier between him and my true feelings. Wednesday the 6th of July. I still can't get to grips with James's mum waking us up with cups of coffee in bed. I could never imagine my mum ever getting to the stage of allowing me to share the same bed with James. We decided to head off to Warwick Castle this afternoon, as I'd always wanted to go there, and since moving to the area James had never been. It was breathtaking looking at the castle, and we enjoyed watching the reenactments of jousting and falconry. It felt good to just wander around hand in hand, making and sharing memories together. In the evening we went to the cinema, as there was a new Tom Cruise film out called Cocktail. It was great, especially when they were making love under the waterfall and on the beach. Leaning over I whispered to James, "I wish we could do that. One day, baby." That night as we made love, I imagined us together under a waterfall, the droplets falling on our bodies, kissing our hot skin with their coolness. Thursday the 7th of July. James was working the lunchtime shift at the pool today, so I said I would go with him, and then when he finished we could both swim together. Pam had offered to take me shopping in town with her, but I just didn't want to waste any moment that I could spend with James. I sat on the balcony area with my book. It was taking me a long time to get through Riders by Julie Cooper, but it was definitely a more enjoyable read now that I experienced the high of making love. Every few minutes I looked up from the page to watch as James walked around the pool, or sat in his chair. When our eyes met, his face would light up with a smile. I still couldn't believe that he was mine. Suddenly I saw Felicity stalking around the pool to where James was standing. She looked fabulous in her tight red shorts and white t-shirt, but was probably a bit too small for her. I could see the eyes of all the men in the pool drinking her in, but what really worried me was her gaze that had settled well and truly on my boyfriend. She hadn't realised that I was in the building, and I watched her stand close to him. From the angle I was at, I could see everything as she leant in to ask or tell him something. He flinched slightly I watched as her hand moved around and down across James's bum. He flinched slightly from the touch and looked up to where I sat, so I quickly looked back into my book, pretending that I hadn't noticed what was going on at the poolside. And as she walked away, she squeezed his arm, and for some reason she looked up to where I sat. Spotting me, she smiled and gave me a small wave. She looked so smug. Wanted to kill her there and then as jealousy bubbled inside of me. And James gave me the nod. I went downstairs and emerged on poolside looking radiant in my bikini. This time, the time on the beach had given my pale skin a sun-kissed look. I soon realised James had managed to beat me into the pool, and I dived in and swam over to join him. He pulled me under the water to plant a long kiss on my lips before we surfaced. "I always remember that kiss," I said as we stopped for a breather on the poolside. "Me too. I think I knew then that I wanted to spend more time with you." "That was my first ever kiss, you know," I responded. "I'll never forget it for the rest of my life." Before I could say another word, he swam away, and I hurried to catch up with him, managing to grab his ankle and pull him under so that I could kiss him again. I wanted him to know that he was mine. I wanted to dispel any worries I had that he could possibly like or want Felicity more than me. Friday the 8th of July, we went shopping for the day in preparation for the party. It was great fun trying on all the dresses and having James there waiting to let me know if he liked them or not. I found the perfect one, and then he proceeded to buy me shoes and also some lovely new matching underwear. When we left the shop, he whispered, "I can't wait to see you in that, and I definitely can't wait to get you out of it either. My party will be hell waiting to get you undressed." James bought himself a new shirt while we were out, and then we spent an exhausting evening blowing up balloons for the following night. Saturday the 9th of July. The day dawned bright and sunny, so we spent the morning sunbathing in the garden and relaxing before we had to go and get the venue ready for the evening. I giggled at all the photographs that his mum had put up around the place of James when he was a boy and a young man. He looked cute even then. His cake was shaped like a fire engine and looked fantastic. I watched with interest the DJ setting up his decks and equipment, and he even showed me how it all worked when he did the sound check. Back at home we got ready. I put my hair up in a similar style to the school dance evening. When I was dressed in my underwear, dress and shoes, I surveyed the look in the mirror. I looked different, and certainly felt different now. I had taken a step from girl to woman. Turning, I saw James look at me from where he sat on his bed, and I gave him a twirl. "You look beautiful," he said, as I walked over to him and he held me in his arms. I reached down and placed a careful kiss on his lips so I didn't ruin my lipstick or get too much on him. "You look gorgeous, and I love you more than ever." "I love you too, till the end of time," he murmured, planting small light kisses down my throat as his hands took in the curve of my waist and hips. "Are you ready?" his dad shouted from the bottom of the stairs. "Yes, coming now," he replied as I took his hand in mine and we went downstairs. "You look beautiful, Stephanie," his dad said. "I may have to whisk you off for a dance later." "Join the queue, Dad," James said, giving him a playful punch on the arm. I laughed, and then we were in the car together and heading for the hall. And I will be back with you shortly for Chapter 21, Part 2.